everybody. Welcome to episode 18 of the Nick of Time podcast. I can't believe it's already episode 18. Fun fact, 18 is probably my favorite number. Uh, yeah, it's like one of my dad's favorite numbers. It's kind of passed down sort of thing. But we got a good one for you. Uh, it's going to be good because it's just me and my wonderful co-host, Miss Georgie B. Say what's up to the
Hello,
people.
y'all. Yes, me. Sorry, I kind of have like a laggy. My environment's a little bit different in case all our viewers are in a hotel and the Wi-Fi is not really that great, and I'm on, my phone hotspot, so it's trying to do its thing. But I have these guys with me, and we're gonna talk about some really important stuff today.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get into it, yeah, this episode is gonna be really deep, but I wanted to give a shout out to the month. April is the month of sexual assault awareness. I wanted to relay some numbers. The National Sexual Assault Hotline is 1-800-656-4673. That's 1-800-656-4673. The DOD, Department of Defense hotline for sexual assault is 1-877-995-5247. With that, yeah, I got this cup today from my little 5K. Shout out to the Sapper office. And it's also Child Abuse Awareness Month too, which I didn't know. So yeah, that's gonna, I guess, introduce a lot of deep topics. Talking about mental health today. Originally, we were scheduled for a guest, but obviously conflicts, schedules, and whatnot. But I feel like a podcast like this just can't. You can't wait for that kind of thing, especially when you're got a lot of stuff, to talk about. So you ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm ready more than ever.
Hey, by the way, guys, this is all like usually we have an outline and kind of how we're doing things. Me and my co-hosts, Ms. Georgie, are literally doing on the fly, and hopefully we can provide some good content and help somebody out. Because at the end of the day, that's why I do this. That's why she does it. And yeah, we're just trying to spread some positivity along with maybe some experiences that you may have gone through or going through, and make the world better than how we found it, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think it's important um, to start out and be straight up. This is my first time ever actually really having a conversation like this. I've never been through therapy. I never talked about really like my mental health specifically as well, past experiences that can contribute, to like negative um, mental health. And I'm excited but a little bit nervous to kind of you know just like really first time opening up. I have like a handful of mentors that I've opened up to, maybe one or two people that really know me truly, or I feel like knows me truly, but talk about in like a setting like this. So I got Penny here, and little I have a chicken too, but the chicken's is setting up my iPad since I have to be on my iPad because I have my other computer, but I forgot the charger, and I'm like 500 miles away. So I hang out with me.
Yeah, for sure. I think when you talk about never going to therapy, like I said, I recently started going. I think I'm about 2 months in now. And you wanna know the craziest thing I noticed about going to therapy is obviously like I got a lot of we all have traumas that we deal with within ourselves, right? We're trying to focus, be one with our own emotions and our own heads. But the craziest thing I think I realize is when I see other people, and especially those who have not, gone to therapy. Not that it's mandatory, right? You don't need a therapist. You can use, like you said, mentors or good friends, family, whatever the case may be. But you can totally tell, uh, I guess, not so much exactly what's wrong with them, and I'm not talking about in a judgmental way. And I don't think that at all. But you could tell like the types of traumas that people have gone through by going to therapy. Does that make sense? So it's like if somebody is like, and obviously this is how I am, so I don't want to use anybody else as an example, but like being a perfectionist and being really hard on yourself. There's a lot of people like that. I'm sure you're like that, right? And when you talk about like where that comes from, it's like a lot of your upbringing, and you kind of that kind of sketches an idea of how somebody came up. You know what I mean? Without ever even like knowing any of their background or their parents or whatever the case may be. And that stuff is crazy. I think that's one of the biggest things therapy has done for me, not only for myself, but just seeing that in others. You know, you see other people that maybe struggle with certain types of things, and like, oh, I know why. Or you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense at all.
No, it does make sense. And touching back on, like a perfectionist, I think you and I are really, specific work ethic comes with a perfectionist. I don't know about your relationship really with like even family and stuff like that, but I know in like a previous episode I kind of briefly touched about my relationship with my family. Um, and we both joined super young, military, and what we've been away and truly away from family for about 6 years now. And I've done a lot of growing up in those 6 years, and it results in me feeling like they don't know who I am, even though like I talk to my mom on a daily basis, and I talk to my dad a little bit here and there. But I talk to my mom more, and other than that, like I talk to them, but I feel like there's something inside like of me that's kind of like we're close, but we're like, you know, they don't see me day to day. They don't see how I am in these scenarios or through FaceTime and through verbal communication and not like physical. So I don't know. I kind of have like this, expectation of myself, and it's been really hard over the time. I feel like everybody's watching me, like all family, you know what I'm saying? Like all our family friends, like the one time I'll see them a year, I feel like a lot of people, they're like, oh, you're doing big. And I feel like I get overwhelmed about like the support almost because I'm like, you support like what I do and you're like about what I do, but you don't really know though. Like you don't know anything, and it's not their fault. They're trying, they just are trying to make, a connection, but like it really stresses me out because I'm like, if you don't know, like, don't try. I just recently went through, now that I'm in the school, I not am deleting a lot of people off my Facebook, for specific reasons with this new job, and also just because I feel like there's people that, one, I don't really think what I'm doing, but they may be interested in malicious ways, and two, I may know some of these family friends, and that's great, but do I really need to have them on something that, you know, Facebook is Facebook's a little bit more personal for me. Instagram's really not. Like I don't really post much on Instagram as well. But Facebook is a little bit. So I really got to clean it out, and I've been, I'm deleting a lot of people. So
Well, that's good. Yeah, I will say this when you talk about your family and them not understanding and whatnot. This kind of correlates with that, kind of nots, but kind of doesn't. But one thing I know that I was told that kind of humbled you in a very big way was throughout your childhood and going into the military. I'm sure you're the same, right? Like there was a lot of good things, right? A lot of success, a lot of hard work, like you said, and everything under the sun. And my therapist told me that he said, you jump from success to success to success. You never took your foot off the gas. Uh, do you- and everything's a question, and that's what makes it so difficult, right? Because when you put things into statements, it's easy to believe. That's why people get in their own head. Like I'm a victim of it too, right? When you say something as a statement, like, "Oh, I feel sad," or "Oh, like like I I you know what I mean? Like even the blankness, you know what I mean? That's even a statement, right? Instead of asking why. Why do I feel sad? Because then you have to deal with it. And just to circle back to success, it's like you never took your foot off the brake. You always had high expectations for yourself, but people had even higher expectations of you, and you form this like distraction, right? Because there's nothing wrong with being on the grind, working hard as part of life, and it's a good attribute. But he was like, you've manipulated that almost into a sense of you're distracting yourself from your own emotions. So now that you're talking to me, it's like boom, all this stuff has, come out. And it's very difficult for you because you don't know how to process it because there's not you have to be in it instead of looking for the next thing to just, conquer and get over whatever you got in your own head.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Like, and I've been contemplating going to therapy for quite some time. Um, I actually have come close, maybe about 2 or 3 times, to think about going to therapy for, um, various reasons. I've had, I don't know, like what stuff. I think maybe once I don't know. I have to really figure it out. Like the process of return, going to therapy, especially with what I'm doing now, during my whole in processing time, they've talked pretty heavy about, like we all know our internal responsibilities when it comes to like security and whatnot. And I don't know if it's because I'm surrounded by a bunch of like tech schoolers, so their in processing is kind of geared a little bit like they try and scare you. Um, but I have to really think about how I'm gonna bring up. I think the most major traumatic kind of situation was more part of my childhood. Not really so much. Yeah, some stuff in the military that's happened to me. I was like, wow, like what is happening? Like this is not it for me in my head. Um, but professionally at work, I'm 100% sure I'm part of like the 10% that has like the highest form of anxiety like on earth. They're like I'm that person that's like, what? Why aren't you upset or why aren't you freaking out? And I'm like, wait, what is there to freak out about? And then it's like, oh, I'm on 100 all the time with this whole anxiety thing. Like it is not a good thing. And so I really need to figure out how to combat, I guess, anxiety naturally. Obviously medicate, certain medications or whatnot, or us medicating is a little bit different being in. But I think a lot of it stems from hood that have been amplified through military service. So yeah, I gotta figure out kind of like square one, like finding the right therapist, schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like what
Yeah.
I really want to talk about or what I'm going.
No, for sure. I got you. And we talked about it a little bit before we went on air, but yeah, I started going to therapy because obviously I got this new job. I'm out here in Wichita Falls, and I enjoy my job. Um, I don't make my own schedule, but like I'm on my own time. It's real time management. So as long as I get work done, that's all that really matters. And I enjoy that aspect of it. But like coming here, kind of like what you were saying before we went on, like it's just me. You know what I mean? Which it always has been. We left at a very young age. It's always just been me. But with security forces, it's a lot different because you have flights and there's other people that are in the same position as you, and you are on post with somebody for 13 hours. You talk about a lot. I have a very good friend, Miller. Shout out to you, dog. I don't want to sit and say I don't know anybody. I know one person. uh, but it's hard. And then, like I said, he has friends that he knows that he's introduced me to who are really good people, right? But it's just been difficult because I think, again, since I've started going to therapy, that's why I started. Because usually, I'm very social, like to talk to a lot of people, like to do all that good jazz and just be a beacon of light, and try to be that person. But like I said, I think I've been jumping from this to that, success, 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 hard work that I never really stopped to be like in my own bag and make sure I was good. I was always making sure everyone else was good. I never made sure I was good. And now that I'm trying to do that,
Mhm.
it's super hard, and it's kind of, you kind of lose yourself. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, this is so bad, but I gotta ask, it's like, who are you? And I couldn't answer that question. It was really sad actually, because I always thought I knew who I was, but if you take out like what I provide, like being a good friend or being a good son or whatever case, like XYZ, like who am I always used to let other people answer that for me. And I always thought that was a good way to go about it, but it's not. You know what I mean? Because then you start to lose your own purpose and you put purpose on other people. So
Damn.
like, yeah. So like that's why I started going, because like you say, me, like I usually don't have a problem talking to people and all this stuff, but I got to a point where I was like, dude, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, yeah, I still post stuff on social media, but I'm really not like, you know what I mean? Hey, y'all want to go out for coffee? Y'all want to do that? Like, no, like my social anxiety has skyrocketed, and that's not who I am. You know what I mean? I usually don't really falter in group settings like that. So that's been difficult for me
Yeah.
being here. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it for sure. But like you said, I went to go see Batman just a couple weeks ago when it came out, like by myself. And I was like, dude, this is the first time I think I've ever been to a movie theater like solo. You know what I mean? And it was a good and bad thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm glad I got out of the house. I'm glad I did something. But at the same time, it's like it's just different. It's difficult.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of that you were I first off, proud of you for going to the movie theater by yourself. Before we went on with this, I had told you that I went out to eat since I got first week. Um and really needed some kind of, like, I have a full kitchen in here, but not like anything super crazy to like cook. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go out. Gonna go just get some food. I'm hungry. Not a fan of fast food style stuff, so I actually want to sit down at a restaurant and order myself a fillet. Had people around me, and it wasn't bad. I like being by myself a lot of the times. And it's kind of funny because you said, like, you're like this beacon of light, like you integrate really easy with all different groups, and I feel like I'm the same way. Like I feel like everybody knows us as like really outgoing, funny. It kind of depends who you ask, because at work, when we were in Korea, it was a little bit either like people either like liked me or like didn't like me, and it was more like the I don't like her side. We were all young trying to figure out who we are, and like some people were just weird. Um, so it was kind of, that was, I want to hit on that too. Like, I think I'm trying to divide right now personal and professional mental health. I don't know why, because like you said, this isn't scripted. Like we didn't really set up like a style. But I think I'm trying to hit my mental health professionally and then my mental health personally, because I feel like they're really different. Is that bad to like split them like that? Like since you've been going to therapy. Is that a thing, or is it like, yeah, it's good?
So by the way, guys, I'm not a therapist, but I'm only speaking from what I believe in my opinion, and I think it's absolutely a bad thing. And the reason why, I think there's a good there's a time and place to split your personal and professional when it comes to how you act and the things you say, right? But when we talk about mental health, this is all between your head. So your head doesn't turn off when you're at work.
Yeah.
The traumas don't turn off, your emotions don't turn off. You know, there's certain things obviously you don't say in a professional setting compared to a personal setting, but they all intertwine because it's your life. You know what I mean? Yes, it's
Yeah.
your work, but your work is part of your life, and how your mindset is part of your life. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like being in therapy, it's a mindset. Because remember, I said the difference between statements and questions. This is the craziest thing. I think if there's anything as far as advice that I'd give to people who haven't been to therapy, or maybe that even have, is your brain, your own brain, doesn't know the difference between a fact and an opinion that you tell it, right? So if you tell yourself, you know, like I'm having anxiety, like I'm stressed, et cetera, your brain can't differentiate if you're actually feeling that way. It's just going to tell you and you're going to believe it. So that's why I said the question things are so big, because it's like, why am I actually stressed? Or why is my anxiety through the roof? That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go away, right? But that challenges your emotion compared to saying, oh my gosh, my anxiety is through the roof. Because in the statement, in our heads, right? I'm not saying it out loud. I'm saying it out loud for context, but when we say that in our heads, like, oh, my anxiety is killing me, it's going through the roof. Your brain is telling you that it's happening. This is a fact. This is reality. Like, which it definitely could be, and most of the time it is. But instead of questioning it, you're you're letting it just be a fact instead of dealing with it. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah.
Kind of like what is it, like back in elementary, like the scientific method. Like when you have a hypothesis, it's a your question. You know, you want to question us your science. You know, you don't want to say like this is this. Well, why is this? It's because XYZ, which XYZs are our traumas. You know what I mean? Our relationships, our experiences, and everything under the sun.
Wow. No, that makes sense. Like, I'm going to therapy right now. BRB, go sign up. Like, I that's like it. Oh my god, I like don't even know what to say. Like that had it like, and everybody who knows me knows how bad anxiety I have. Like work related, it gets even worse. Um, and I never have stopped and asked myself, why do I have anxiety? I feel like sometimes maybe like a 1% I do, but I'm so like flustered about it that I like don't like I can't even answer like, and I know truly I could answer why am I do I have anxiety, but a lot of the times I feel like it's just like a daily anxiety. Um, but I think I just need to start asking myself like my husband, he's so good at not having like he just like if I'm freaking out about something, I just tell myself to stop and I stop. And I'm like, it's not that easy. Like there's so much complex stuff going on in my head. And then like and even as I get older, I feel like I even get more emotional. Like I used to never be an emotional as a kid. And now like I just watched a video on YouTube or on Facebook yesterday and I started like tearing up. And I'm like, watch the new SpongeBob movie. Don't no, I cried. Like him talking SpongeBob talking about losing Gary, and I was like, oh my god, like he's about to lose Gary. Like it's a thing, and like I feel like I've become like super more emotional over time, and like I don't know, like it's just like about like I feel like we have so like feel like there's so much like to talk about, and I'm really trying to like categorize it and divide it, so I'm
No,
not
I
gonna sit here for like 4 hours trying to figure
no, I got you. I will say
what I'm
this though,
saying.
real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I will say, um, to help you out with, like, you talk about your anxiety is with going to therapy and stuff. One thing I learned is we're not trying to like get rid of it. Or I mean, you are, but like that's not a realistic thing, right? It's not about, oh, let me get rid of my anxiety and I'll be happily ever after. No, it's probably gonna always be there. It's about being comfortable being in it. You know what I mean? And with that
Yeah,
question and with the question of, oh, why do I have an anxiety? It forces a difficult conversation with yourself to be like, is it as big as I'm really making it to be? And it could, most of the time it is, sometimes it isn't, but it's that conversation you have in your head that that makes you more kind of like an ice bath. It makes you more comfortable to sit in it because you're confronting it head on compared to, you know what I mean, not questioning it, and then it just lingers and you never figure out why.
yeah. Hey, you should be a little therapist.
Uh, I don't know about on that, but I do my due diligence.
Yeah. Oh, so I feel like maybe you're the same way as me with this because I can kind of feel it. So good at giving other people advice. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm so good and I'm really good at like listening and then like, and like you said earlier, like spend so much time like almost being a people pleaser in a sense, like helping out others, like being there for others, being the friend that you want to be. Um and for me at least, I felt like for a long time I never got that in return. Like I'm like, why does nobody want to like talk to me when I'm out somewhere? Like nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to, take a chance on me, be a friend. Like I'm in San Angelo I'm trying to find a flamboyant gay best friend. I want a gay best friend in San Angelo. I'm trying to find it, but every time I try, like it work. It never works, and I don't. And I'm like, then I for a while take a step back, and I'm like, maybe something's wrong with me. It's me. Like, is there's something? It's me because you know for a while it was like if you think why other people this, why other people that, have you taken a step back and thought like maybe it's you? And I'm like friend, for so many people that have come in and out of my lives, and I've dedicated so much to everybody that I truly feel like I don't have that in return, except for one person who stepped back into my life. Um, and I feel like she's a different dynamic than I am, but like I feel like we mesh well together. I think she's gonna come visit me, and it's that's only that's only one person. Like one, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm so talkative and like I talk to everybody. Like first day of like schoolhouse, like all the other priors, I'm at it like this. Like, and I'm like sometimes I'm like, damn, Gio, you need to like stop talking because you're like really annoying. But like I'm trying, I want to be friend. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to have friends. Like I want to go. I could be by myself, but now in this moment here, for some reason, I'm just like a little bit more hungry for a friendship, or like there's a girl, another prior, she's a grade below, but she's literally across a hotel, literally right across the street. And I didn't get her number or anything like that because we can't like write anything like inside the building. And I thought 3 times today, what if I just like go outside and like stand out there and like or ask the front desk people there like, hey, do you know a female that like that like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't even
Yeah.
remember her name, but I want to show up and be like, yo, you want to go to Ulta with me? Like, you want to go buy stuff, or like you want to go grab food or something? Like, I don't know. Like, but is it me? Like, is there something? You know what I'm saying?
So I'll try to dissect that because I feel you. I feel you, right? I have very my close friends, and they know who they are. Because I try to put a lot of effort into them. But I've also put an effort into people who maybe didn't deserve it, maybe did. But and it goes back to being a hard charge and that perfectionist, right? Because you're just like me, dude. Like
Yeah.
that is part of it, right? You want to be good at your job, you want to be a good person, you want to be good at everything. And being a good friend and putting others before yourself is, it seems good, right? And it's a good thing to be a good person. But it goes back to what I was saying with the success, right? When you're good to this friend or you're good to that friend, or you're good to, you're just a good person, which I'm not advocating for being a bad person. But what I'm saying is, because I'm the same way, right? I try to treat everybody with respect. I try to, motivate people. I try to inspire people. I try to just make people smile. I take pride in that. And I go so hard with it that I never looked at me. As a matter of fact, instead of looking at me and dealing with my own stuff, right? I would use other people as a cop out to be like, oh, I'll help them so I feel better. But then I never really feel better because I wasn't in my own emotions. You know what I mean? I wasn't in my own head, questioning my own, like,
Ah,
my own stuff. And I genuinely like feel where you're coming from when you say like the whole like friends and trying to find new friends or whatever the case may be. But that's why it's so difficult right now for you being alone. It's not because you're alone, like physically alone. That's not what it is. It's because you're alone in your head. So going out and
yeah.
being somebody's friend and making their life more enjoyable, right? It distracts you from all your own stuff.
Yeah, it does. It does. Like, dang, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, I need I need to like where to start now. Because that was so like true. Like if I take a step back and really think about it, I really don't open up really to anybody, maybe one person about like who, what my thought process is. Like as much as I'm transparent, I feel like but I feel like if I really really take like a step out of my body and look at it, I feel like I'm not that transparent as I think I am. Like I feel like people are like, yeah, I know her, but like I don't know her. You know what I'm saying? Like and it's not that I like show up to work or like anywhere and I put on like this fake thing. Like I'm not. Everybody can tell you that like, oh, she's a crackhead everywhere and anywhere. I'm very quick to be myself around people, maybe in a professional setting, like at work, with new people, it's a little bit different. If I'm in a new environment, I'm trying to still fill out, like, okay with me being like X, Y, and Z, things like that. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm like this, in like this weird, like, yeah, I know her, but like I don't know her. And I try, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that even make sense? I feel like that's maybe
Oh,
with everybody because everybody has things they don't talk about.
oh yeah, for sure. And I think that that's okay. You don't have to talk about everything, right? And I know you know that, but uh, what was I gonna say? I feel like when we're on this topic brings a lot of thoughts to my head. And the first thought that comes to mind is like when it comes to being transparent, I mean, I always try to tell people how it is, but also for a man's perspective, it's a little bit different too, right? Because you always uh, built, to be tough. You know what I mean? Like suck it up, all this stuff, which is not a good idea. It's never a good idea. Uh, That doesn't mean don't be tough. Be a damn savage. All right, for all my fellas out there, be a savage. Because if you don't think I'm a savage, you think I'm up here and I'm a softy. I promise you, you get to smoke all day. I promise.
Uh,
but I think as a man too, I think courage to not necessarily spill all the beans, but courage to speak out. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, like you don't gotta know all my business, but this is how I'm feeling. You know, that doesn't require details or anything like that. And I think something as small as that is very courageous. And I don't think people do that enough. You know, um, the perfect example, and this isn't even like on a
yeah.
like a depression or sad note. It's kind of like when, let's say, you're in class or you're at Ulta, whatever the case, right? And you see somebody's like another female's hair, and like she has really nice hair, but you don't tell her that. How crazy is that, right? Why do we do that as humans? You know what I mean? How much would that make her day? You know what I mean? Because she probably
Yeah.
got her hair done or was working hard. Like, you know what I mean? And like with guys, it's especially bad. Like, hey, dude, like you've been working out, or like, or and you got that new promotion, man. Congrats. Like, whatever case. But we don't do that. And we do the same thing with our own heads. You know what I mean? We don't give ourselves grace, is what I'm saying.
That's
And
true. I feel like that's like I'm telling you when I get the random comment and especially for like females because internally no matter how like it's always kind of battle. Like when you're female out somewhere like in the gym, it's a battle internally and like there's no reason for it to be like that. But like girls some like a lot of times that's how other females act. Like in security forces, it's a battle. Like no shorty, I like be friends with you. Like let's make it to the top together. Like let's like do that. And so even today, like when I first showed up to squash some random girl, she was like, "I'm gonna need to ask you what your skincare routine is." Oh, excited! I was like, "Don't get me, don't get me started on some skincare because I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be a whole thing, and then I'm gonna be in your DMs trying to get you to buy all this stuff that I'm buying because I want to see you experience. I experienced through all this and that, and I'm at the gym and I'm wearing these new and I think this is an important thing because you and I love to work out, not body dysmorphia out, but I feel like images start to get almost like delusional as you're on a progress to obtain a certain look or like a figure. And it's really easy to fall into that like and be hard on yourself. Like I get so hard on myself about like the way I look, especially when it comes to the gym. Like 2 weeks off from surgery, I'm like low key freaking out about how am I going to go to the gym and like get back into it. Meanwhile, attention and wanted attention from either like my close friends that are like continuously gassing me up. They're like, "You look so freaking good!" Like to the end, I'm like, "Oh my god, are you being serious? Like, are you joking?" And then like the one female out of nowhere, I'm digging the red leggings, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's awesome!" And then the unwanted attention comes in where I'm like, "Y'all talk all this stuff, but like I feel like actions speak louder than words. Like this is weird, like or this is not like odd." And so it's just like why does it have to be such a big impact though? Like why did this girl telling me I'm feeling the red leggings, why was it when I feel like it really shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like should it really be that impactful? You know what I'm saying? Like why can't it just feel normal? Like wow, like somebody appreciates this and that. Or like like showing up to work, security forces. I will never forget this. At my third base, showed up to work, and it was um some random like I don't we didn't really talk a lot male airmen and Sergeant Busby. I like what you did with your hair. It wasn't anything weird. Like it wasn't anything like creepy or anything. Like, I like what you did with your hair. And it was like, wait, guys pay attention to like the way girls do their hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of odd, but it stuck with me. And look, how many years later? And I think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't even know where I'm going. Like this podcast is gonna have to have like part 2, part 3, and like beyond, because I feel like I don't even know, like, a scattered brain, but
No,
it's
we
just
could.
like, why is it so?
I was gonna say we could definitely do easily knock out 4 hours just on these topics
I
alone.
know, and my iPad's about to die. Like, my iPad's on the go.
But will we talk about? I guess I could be your therapist for today since you said I should be one. I'm gonna challenge you and ask you what do you think? Who is Georgie Butsby? I'm gonna ask that. Who are you? In your own words. It doesn't have to be this long spiel. Whatever that means to you. Think about that. Think about that. I'm gonna tell you who I am, and the only reason why I asked you that was because that was part of my homework from the previous week. Because I was in therapy and I was like silent. I couldn't answer it. I literally could not answer it. I guess who I am is I think I'm a very loving, ambitious person. I definitely have my heart on my sleeve, but I don't wear it on my sleeve. So I try to portray, to people that, I got their back. I try to be a good friend, a good brother, a good uncle, all the above. Um, I'm a hard worker. I work hard for the things that I try to accomplish, and I believe in people. And yeah, I think that's who I am. And yeah,
I love that.
what do you think you would say about yourself?
I feel like I am oddly enough introverted. Like, I am a peep. This is I'm gonna announce a red flag of mine. I'm gonna be honest. This is a red flag. People pleaser. As much as I hate saying it, I am a people pleaser, and I hate other people at the same time. And I'm not talking. And hate may be the inappropriate word to use. Um, people. I dislike certain kinds. I dislike other people. And I favor other people, and I like. And when I say favor, like, if you're a, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a favor you to an extent where, like, I would do more for you than I would for somebody else, but I would still do so much for this person I don't even know.
But hear me out,
Like,
hear me out, Georgia, hear me out, hear me out. See, this what makes it so hard, right? Because I talked about in the beginning, I talked about other people at the very tail end of that, but a lot of it was like, I'm ambitious, I'm this, I'm that. Think about this is what makes therapy so hard. Like, it is literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my life because you're talking about characteristics of how you treat other people. I asked you who you are.
damn, okay, I failed the question. I failed it. Okay, there's no
But no,
failing
but
in
that, but that,
therapy.
but that, yeah, that's good. It's not no such thing as failing, but it's the realization, right? Because I'm one that's not genuinely lost for words. I think that's why I do a podcast, right? I think
Yeah.
I usually have good things to say, but when I'm in that room, I'm telling you, I mean, they go to school for a reason because I'll get questions like how I'm asking you and stuff like that, but even worse questions because they know more details, and I'll sit there and just stuck. You know what I mean? Like stuck on
Yeah.
stupid. But that's a good thing because when you're stuck, you're you're in tune with what's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you weren't stuck, it would be like again, it is also good, but it'd be like success to success to success. It'd be distractions and just shoving down everything. So being stuck is a good thing mentally. You know what I mean? You don't want to stay
Yeah.
there. You don't want to stay there, obviously, but it gets your brain thinking and gets all those neurons firing.
Okay. I can understand. Okay. I think I know. I'm so bad because I already like failed at the first therapy question. Okay. Who am I? This is okay. This is where the anxiety comes. What? How? How do you want? Okay. Am I supposed to describe myself like? Because you said I was doing like characteristics, or I
I
was
say
doing
you're
characteristics.
doing characteristics on how you treat others, which that's like
Oh, okay. Okay.
that's something you do. That's not who you are.
Okay. I think I know. And please like stop me, if I'm going because now I'm like low key internally freaking out because I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to answer this, but there's really no wrong. But so who I'm funny. Is that correct? Okay. I
Yes,
I think I'm okay. I think yeah, I can be funny. And um I can also um be uh, damn, like she's only funny. That's all she got going for herself. No, I'm just kidding. I
it's a
just
start. That's a start.
ooh, I can be funny. I am spontaneous. Like
Adventurous.
I'm like yeah. I'm a roller coaster. You know,
Oh, okay.
like I
I'll, so when you say roller coaster, that's good. That's not a bad thing. When you say roller coaster, what's at the top, what's at the bottom?
yeah either one second I'm I'm like crackhead times a million, and then next thing you know I'm like I need a nap. I need to take a nap, or like, hey, I'm not going to talk to you for 3 hours because I'm I'm a say I have I don't have like a personality disorder.
Yeah.
I don't have a personality disorder, but I feel like it can be multiple different people. Like I have different styles, and I don't. And look, I'm veering off. I'm veering off right now on the question because yeah, I'm stalling, but it is bringing to light like that. Wow, brownies.
Yeah.
Like one minute I can be like a material girl, and then the next I want to be living in 1910, and I'm a royal family member. Like that. This has no correlation at all. Like what if I have ADHD?
Yeah, I think
Like what?
yeah, that's more so like I guess kind of things that you like. And it's a hard question. Like I said,
Yeah.
so don't and again, that's another thing. Like I said, you gotta give yourself grace. Don't be upset. Cause I'm asking you on the spot, right? And like I said, I was stuck and he gave me a whole week to figure it out. I haven't got I go back next week. Or not a whole week, but it's been like a couple of days. And I'm gonna answer that question when I go in next week. So like don't think that
Well, can we get
that what?
Do you just gave a right of your answer to that question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because my connectivity went for a second. So okay, because I was gonna ask, you know. Okay, well maybe it'll be a part 2 podcast. I can
Yeah.
do some deep, and it'll be good to do this reflection because I'm by myself, just like you are, in a way. You know, I have these guys with me. I have this decent hotel room. I have the gym, you know, with strangers, but I'm vibing. Like yesterday, I went to the gym and I was vibing by myself. Um, and I like I so okay. I feel like I want to bring this up, but I don't know if this is part of the process or like if you experience the same. But diving into things or activities like hobbies that you've either one done before and it was or done all your life and like have put a pause to it because military moving around and stuff like that like I want to bring my soccer cleats and like go play soccer for my life, like return to something I feel like I know. I want to go play soccer like on the weekends. I should kick the ball around by myself, or like violin. Georgie used to play violin in 6 months. And and for 3 years I've been wanting to buy a violin and like play it. Like I don't know. And I've had this feeling of like I want to play violin. For the past 4 or 5 years, wanting to go do like dance class. I love to dance. Like and I've never done it like, formally or like, actual like been in a dance class before. I wanna go to dance. The heel dance, I wanna do like the sensual I'm in heels or and it's the girls and we like feminine energy, like we're all just like self-love. We're like, wow, we're a bunch of bad girls in here. And because I feel like I'd be really good at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
No,
don't
for sure.
know. Like, I just
I mean,
maybe I should.
uh that's part of therapy too, right? Like doing those things that you enjoy to do. Because that's what life is. Why would we want to live our lives and things we don't have to do? Obviously, we have to make sacrifices, right? Work, etc. To provide and to do better for ourselves. But in our free time, in our personal time, why would we do anything that obviously if it's a negative aspect, right, you don't want to continue to do bad habits, but like if it's positive and it makes you smile, makes you happy, why would we not?
Yeah.
Dude, this is
Dang.
crazy, yo.
Nah!
It's crazy because like even like in therapy, right, I'm always been like the one that's told, like I'm the one that's told to but in the short amount of time that I've been going, to be able just to like I guess portray everything that I've learned in such a short amount of time, right? It's honestly
Yeah.
crazy. And what's one thing that does
You're
suck
glowing.
that's also really hard too is being in therapy and like you realize a lot of stuff emotionally. So when people do like let you down or things do happen, it's a roller coaster because one, you realize that other people are going through stuff because you're going through stuff. So you kind of have more grace with that. But on the not so good days, it's like the exact opposite. You know what I mean? It's like you get super, super like I guess emotional probably the best word, but you know what I mean? Like why? Like, why would somebody do that? Or why would somebody do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it goes back to that
Dang.
like perfectionist thing, right? Like everyone doesn't think the same and everyone's not as considerate, you know?
Yeah. I want to keep this, you know, I want to keep moving to do like a part. But I think for me, I think at least for me, since we co this together, I think it would be easiest because I think, the whole past 30, 40, 50 minutes that we've been talking about, obviously, I'm like, I feel like you're playing like therapist, and it's like, well, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like for at least it would be easy to like not categorize, but like, you know, what does mental health look like? Scenarios, work experience. And
Yeah,
what does mental health look like when in scenarios like this, like when you're by yourself, when you have been, when you've been by yourself, like, you're single, I'm married. What
yeah.
has been never being married look like? I don't know why I feel like you need to like compartmentalize or like
No,
divide
no,
like
no,
that,
no.
or
I completely 110% agree with you. Like you said, we did this on the fly, but I think that's the perfect thing because it also gives, more structure, and it gives you, again, and everything goes back to the question, right? Like, you had to ask questions, and the more you can break down a question, the more you can get to the trauma, and not just the trauma, but the more you can
yeah,
get to like the problem, right? Because like you said, when we speak in generic terms, it's kind of like I said with the statements, right? If you tell yourself I have anxiety compared to why do I have anxiety, your brain just automatically
yeah,
assumes it's a fact and stops at I have anxiety. Compared to when you ask it, right? Why do I have anxiety? Then you can say work, relationships, parents, kids, whatever it is, right? And then you're just like, well, what about my kids? Oh, well, one's sick, you know what I mean? Or what about, and then like it like literally you're peeling it back over and over. So when
yeah,
you're dealing with it, it's easier to sit in that ice bath because you know what you're dealing with compared to just jumping in and you don't know how cold it is.
yeah, yeah. I feel okay. This this is gonna the intro to mental health conversations, and then we'll have parts, mental health, military, so you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Well, one thing I
Because
would ask. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, because me, I'm all over the place, especially with not having experience. What
I'm not.
gives
I'm not an
anxiety?
expert either. Like I said, I've only been going 2 months, but I will say I'd ask you to challenge myself in like just basically how you do with the guests, right? Like I have questions, topics lined up, and I'd like to be asked questions because I think uh, I think it's hard, especially as a guy. I mean, it's so hard for you too. Don't get me wrong, but like when I'm in therapy and stuff, the questions have to be asked because I'll say something and then like you said, oh, you gave me one layer, and then they peel it back, and then they peel it back. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
nobody's
yeah.
naturally willing to talk about how jacked up they are. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, it's great. Do like a little like question, like little Q&A type thing that they kind of set us up for it, like if we're on like relationship anxiety or like military, or like military um anxiety, military health, you know everything. um I think we could. I have a guest too for the military portion.
Yeah.
So
No, for sure. That'd be dope. Is there anything uh you think on top of the head that you would want to ask me that like doesn't involve me playing therapist? Because we talked about you a
yes,
lot. We talked about you a
yeah,
lot.
that's why I'm like, dang, I
Eh,
feel like it,
I
because
don't.
like I feel like it's like playing therapist. Like, okay, my question is, um, do you truly that going to therapy has helped you in more ways than one, or do you think it's something that is like not a placebo effect, but is it something like so like You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, I'm feeling sick. If I take this pill and I know that this pill is gonna help me feel better. Like, are you truly? You know what I'm saying?
I think I think it just depends on your stage of where you're at in therapy. Uh, the analogy I would give is, we have traumas that we don't even realize we have, especially hard chargers like ourselves that kind of just say, my whole life, it's work, get to the top. Be If you're gonna do something, be the best at it, all this stuff. And the analogy I would use is kind of like running full speed with like a knife, like a steak knife in your side. And you're so caught up on adrenaline and work ethic and just everyday life distractions and stuff that you're just running. And then when you go to therapy, it's kind of like you stop running and then they pull the knife out, right? And when they pull the knife out,
Mhm.
every therapy session after that, they're stitching you back up. So in the long run, right, you're gonna live a better life because you're getting stitched back up. But that initial pull of that knife, all the floodgates of blood just leak out. And your brain literally, or at least for me, I'm speaking from my experience, doesn't know how to process it. I struggled, right? I struggled because I was getting called out on traumas and basically flaws of mine that I saw as uh I guess what's the opposite of flaw? As an asset, I guess. You know what I mean? I saw myself as, oh, I work hard, I do this, I try to be the best, which I I have to balance that, right? That doesn't mean don't go out there, guys, and be a bum, right? No, it's not what I'm saying. I'm not no bum, I never will be. But what I'm saying is my greatest strength was my greatest weakness because I never gave myself any grace. I was so hard on myself. You know what I mean? And then me being hard on myself, and when I go to therapy or my first few therapy sessions, we pull this knife out. Now I'm even harder on myself for realizing, dang, well, maybe I could have handled that situation different. Maybe I could have handled this situation different. But the traumas and everything that I've experienced in my whole life forced me to make these decisions or do these kind of things that for people like us, it was so hard, dude, because I could have done something about it, but I didn't. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because I didn't, that makes me feel even worse, you know? Because it's like, but then again, it's like you said, giving yourself grace, because my therapist says, it's not your fault. How can you be so upset of something you didn't know this? You didn't know that all this stuff was affecting you in this kind of way, et cetera, et cetera. So why are you so mad? I'm like, because I didn't know. And maybe I could have handled this relationship better, or maybe I could have been a better friend for this person, or maybe I could have done this, or maybe I couldn't have shut out anyone who's ever even tried to love me, or whatever the case may be, right? And then I feel even more bad because it's like, dude, you're supposed to be on your shit, you know what I mean? And you're not. And then that's like a down spiral. So I will say, to answer your question, it's it's like being stitched up, right? It's super painful in the beginning. It's very difficult. But I feel better walking out of therapy every single time than I did when I walked in. But it's the highs are very high, like I said, walking out, and then the lows are very lows, especially initially, because all this stuff is coming to life in the realization. You know what I mean? So in a sense of how we
Yeah.
think, I know we're different people. In a sense, how we think, it makes you feel like a loser, um, because somebody's calling you out on things, even though even though you know not trying to be considered any kind of way, we outshine 99% of our peer group. It makes you feel like a loser because there's so many flaws that you didn't know you had. It's okay to have flaws, but the ones you didn't even know, how can you even improve on that if you didn't even know they were there?
Yeah.